When there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Thursday evening live. It's Keep It in the Ring for August 1st, 2024. Yes, we've reached the beginning of August. How about that? Unbelievable how the year is passing. I'm Rich Mancuso. We're live, as always, Thursday Night Live, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for joining me and being a part of Keep It in the Ring. Live on my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso. Keep It in the Ring page on Facebook. Also, String Punk Entertainment, Jabronis United. Like, comment, and subscribe. And, of course, I appreciate that. At the bottom of the screen, as always, the upcoming fights of significance and how you reach me, Rich Mancuso, on social media. Ring786, X, formerly Twitter, and Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. My content at Latinosports.com, NewYorkSportsDay.com, that you can read in a few other outlets in between. Check it out if you can. And, we are in August, and it doesn't mean boxing stops. The boxing season continues. Not as heavy as it was in the spring, but we got a big one coming up Saturday night from Los Angeles at Riyadh season. We're going to get into that into depth some now at the BRO Stadium in Los Angeles, Saturday night, to be seen on the Zone. Pay-per-view.com and ESPN Plus. It is Terrance Crawford highlighting a great card of boxing, perhaps the best one of the year, live here in the United States. The kings and princes of Saudi Arabia have come together and for the first time promoting a major card of boxing in the United States. Great matchups, some with implications in boxing in the divisions, including two important heavyweight fights. Again, I emphasize, those kings and princes, as I call them, during Riyadh season, are collaborating with other promoters and delivering you, the fans, the fights. And this time, Eddie Hearn, who put most of this together from Matchroom, responsible for it. You have a collaboration of promoters. You have fighters getting the fights because you have a collaboration of promoters putting this all together, and it happens Saturday night. Major boxing card of boxing. So let's look into it. Let's go and dissect and analyze fight for fight, because it is a pretty good boxing card. There it is, the original fight poster advertising it all. But the highlight is this guy. We are all waiting for Terrance Crawford back in the ring after a year since he unified the 147-pound titles against Errol Spence Jr. So Terrance Crawford and Israil Madrimov. And you're hearing pronunciations of his name today, all different ways, but it is Madrimov. The three-division champion, undisputed. And, of course, Terrance Crawford looking to become a champ again at 154 and fighting for a championship for titles in 4 different weight classes. Now, Crawford wanted Madrimov. Madrimov wanted Crawford, and we got it, and it's the main event Saturday night. Still, WBA, WBO welterweight champion as he was, Madrimov 10-0, 7 knockouts, not a lot of pro fights on his resume, however, an outstanding amateur career. And with 11 pro fights and that amateur career and standout performance that he had, training with the light heavyweight champion, Demetrio Bivol. So he's got the skills. We know. We've heard a lot about Madrimov because of his skills. He's also a technician. He also has great footwork and some power. And we will be able to see Terrance Crawford withstand that power at 154. At the press conference today in Los Angeles, Crawford said it doesn't matter who he fights when he goes up in weight. And we've seen that many times before in his illustrious career, that many consider Crawford to be the best pound-per-pound fighter right now in boxing. You get the arguments that Canelo Alvarez is number one or someone else. But to many, Terrance Crawford is the pound-for-pound best. And if he wins this fight, there'll be no doubt about that. He will. The other thing is, if Terrance Crawford wins this fight, he's in the discussion all the time about possibly moving up another weight again, fighting at 168 and getting Canelo Alvarez, the once unified champion at 168. But that all depends. If Canelo would want it, that all depends if Terrance Bud Crawford moves on Saturday night. But Crawford has not been active. That might be the one thing that could be his setback. But knowing Terrance Crawford like many do, he is always in shape. No matter what weight he fights at, that pound-for-pound billing that he gets as the best is definitely a part of his resume and part of his repertoire about the type of fighter he is. Skillful, technician as well. Also, Terrance Crawford likes to finish off opponents. We know that. He might start off slow again Saturday night, but then towards the 7th or 8th round, if it's still going that far, he goes to the finish. When asked today, Terrance Crawford was asked what he thought his prediction would be of this fight Saturday night against Madrimov, and he simply said, win. And my friends, that's a great answer. He didn't give the answer about knocking his opponent out. And he said if it goes to decision, it goes his way. And you know, when it goes to the three blind mice at ringside in a fight like this, if it does go the distance, hey, who knows? I do expect, though, Terrance Crawford to win this fight Saturday night, not easily, and I do expect him to finish off Madrimov probably within 8-9 rounds. Take it if you want, take it if you're not. It's going to be a good main event Saturday night in Los Angeles as a part of Riyadh season and Matchroom Boxing and the kings and princes of Saudi Arabia putting this all together. And again, the big question, Terrance Crawford wins this fight. Is he the pound-for-pound best in the sport? And if so, who does he face next? Does he try and unify at 154? And become a 4-time champ in different weight classes? Or does he decide the next move is the big one that'll make an awful lot of money? That would be the fight of a fight. Him and Canelo Alvarez. That remains to be seen. And my opinion, folks, and I want your opinion on this, comment if you want. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channels and give me your comments. Do you think Terrance Bud Crawford right now stands to be billed as the top pound-per-pound fighter in the business? And according to Caden, Crawford will continue to prove he is the best pound-per-pound best. Caden, your point is very legitimate, and many of you feel the same way. Because Terrance Crawford is a very quiet, mellow guy. I've known him a long time. Even when you interview Bud Crawford, it's just very simple answers, very laid back, at ease, and he gets right to the point. And like I said again, folks, what he said today at the final presser before the weigh-in tomorrow, all I'm going to do there is win, the right answer. But a win will be tremendously big for Terrance Crawford, a future Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. But a fight with Canelo Alvarez, I'd want to see that. How about you? And that fight could determine for sure who would be best pound for pound in the sport. And I don't like putting pound-for-pound fighters matching up. I generally don't like doing that. But the boxing world loves doing that. It creates a great buzz, and it's interesting theater as well as great talk. So let's see what you think about it. So let's move on. Crawford, underneath a great card again. You got to hand it to the kings and princes and Eddie Hearn, putting together possibly the best card of boxing this year. Heavyweights, including Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz, of course, best known a few years ago for dethroning Anthony Joshua at Madison Square Garden and getting the heavyweight titles. And since then, he put on a lot of weight, and since then, he's been in and out of the ring. Now he's in terrific shape. But now he's got Israil Big Baby Miller, another heavyweight out of Brooklyn, New York, who's had his share of problems in and out of the ring. There was a time when he thought Big Baby Miller was going to give it up, but he's back. He's not going to weigh 333 pounds for this fight Saturday night against Andy Ruiz. He's in much better shape. He's lost a lot of weight. But the implications for this fight for the heavyweight title, the implications for the heavyweight rankings and the title mix. It's it's either win or go home. That's basically what it's like. And like Crawford and Madrimov, two undefeated fighters, this one though is more like win or go home. Again, we don't know what Andy Ruiz can still do. Everyone said he was done after losing the titles that he won from Anthony Joshua. And then again, we don't know much more about what Baby Miller can do ever since he put on all that weight, and now we don't know. So now we get Al. I think Scott will put that comment up again because I like to read all the comments. I thought this was Rummy's Corner voice I don't know what he means by that, but thank you for commenting Anyway,
your voice actually.
Yeah. Is that what it was? No, I don't know, whatever. Thank you anyway. It's a slimmed down Baby Miller who probably give him more speed there in the ring. And I'm anxious to see what he can do against this guy, Andy Ruiz. And I'm anxious about this heavyweight fight because a winner is in that title mix. Ruiz wants Joseph Parker. Baby Miller's trying to get back up there. But again, it's win or go home. Who do you got in this one? Who do you got? Fans, I like Andy Ruiz to take this fight. Despite big Baby Miller, Gerald Miller, looking best shape that he's been in a long time, I still take Andy Ruiz. He's been more active, and I like him to move on. Then you got this young heavyweight fighting. Martin Bakal is fighting, very powerful, and he's fighting a talented young Israil Anderson from the top-ranked boxing stable. Anderson's 17-0 and 15 knockouts, so we know his knockout capability. We know Bakal is 20-1 and 15 knockouts, with a number one rated by the WBA. We know that this could be a good heavyweight fight. And this could be a heavyweight fight also with some implications. And why do I say that? Well, Anderson punches hard. We know that. That gives him the knockout ability. And if he wins this fight, it puts him, no doubt, as a young guy in the sport with top rank and all their leverage, to put him in the heavyweight title mix. Young, many say may not be ready, but he wins this fight against a tough and strong Martin Bakal. Then Jared Big Baby Anderson is in that heavyweight title mix. Now, according to JD Sports, my buddy Thomas, Miller lost his last fight, but at least he has fought a few months ago. Yes, good point. Good point about the Ruiz-Miller fight again. But I like Jared Anderson. I like this youngster. I like the way I like his speed, and I like his knockout ability. He's had some problems out of the ring as well. But when it gets into the ring, he means business. Top Rank has promoted him real well. And Top Rank knows what they're doing this year, man. And I think Anderson wins this fight with his power. Thanks for commenting, people. If I don't reach you right back on the air, I'll get back to you sooner or later on my social media. X, Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. And here we go again. Al Quergo Boxing says pound for pound, the best ever. History recognizes particularly names on the resume and just the eye test. I think Felix Trinidad or DLH knocks out all of Bud's 147 opponents too. And hey, that's a pretty good point. And when you're putting Felix Trinidad in the discussion, you got a good point there, my friend. All right, move on to the fight card. Again, a lot of indications here, a lot of good fights, but this one has implications for a title because Isaac Pitbull Cruz defends his WBA Junior Welterweight title, the title he won over Rolly Romero. Came out of nowhere. This is a Mexican versus Mexican war. It's going to be against the talented and gained Jose Valenzuela. And 140, of course, all the time as you hear, the division in boxing with so many great names. Valenzuela is 13-2-9. coming off a knockout over Chris Colbert in December. So he's stepping up in weight now, also at 140. Again, a test for a fighter moving up in weight and going for a title at 140. But a huge win for either one. Now, in this division, assuming Cruz wins or even Valenzuela, you got Liam Perro, who won the IBF title from Mateus. You got Mateus, who's going to be looking for another fight to rebound. You got Teofimo Lopez fighting again in September, who holds a share of the 140-pound titles. And still, Devin Haney is out there who says he's not fighting the rest of the year after the fiasco with our friend Ryan Garcia. Though Cruz is strong and he comes at you, and Valenzuela knows how to take the punch with great hand and foot speed. I don't look at this fight as being a fight that's going to be easy for either one of them. And yet I look at Pitbull Cruz and his championship win as a statement in for boxing and in the division. And who could win this fight can go either way. I do see some knockdowns on both ends of this fight. Maybe Cruz getting the left or right in, or a nice jab will put Valenzuela down, but Valenzuela is one that doesn't go down much. Who wins this fight? To me, it's a toss-up. I can't tell you. What do you think? Comment. Let me know. And it'll give me a better idea because I've got this fight as a toss-up. Either way, it's a very important fight at 140 for the title, for Cruz's 140-pound WBA version of the title. And when boxing decides to unify and reform, maybe we can talk about unity of a title instead of one of the many alphabet soup titles that prevail still in the sport. On the card also, as it continues, on the pay-per-view. If you buy this pay-per-view, you are getting a great card, and I don't think any one of these fights on this card is disappointing. David Morrell, light heavyweight title up. David Morrell's undefeated, 10-0, 9 KOs out of Cuba for the vacant WBL regular title. What the hell is a WBL regular title? There you go again. Alphabet soup. No unity, but that's what it's for. And the winner here could get Demetrio Bivol to become the full champion, or could it be Arturo Benavides? They are fighting October 12th to unify that light heavyweight title at 175. But it's a debut for Morrell at 175 with a 4-year knockout streak, which goes to his advantage. He is the WBA Super Middleweight champ at one time, and this is going to be another good fight on this stacked card Saturday night from Los Angeles on payperview.com, The Zone, and ESPN Plus, and also Matchroom Boxing and the Kings and Princes, giving the fight fans what they want. Good fight here. I expect Morrell to win it, and I expect Morrell to get the part of the light heavyweight title, even with 10 fights under his belt. And then we got Andy Cruz from Cuba on the card. And Morrell is the goods. I like him, says Thomas of JD Sports. Again, my buddy. Yes, he is. Here's Andy Cruz of Cuba, another Cuban fighter on the card that's getting showcased versus Antonio Moran. Lightweights, another division that's still hot and heavy in the sport. Cruz, though, only with 3 fights, 3-0 and a knockout, the 2020 Olympic gold medal champ. Moran, more experience, 36-1, 21 knockouts out of Mexico City. This is 10 rounds. Moran is 31 years of age, but a win puts him in line for something. And Cruz also, even though he only has 3 fights. I'm going to say 3 fights and he's fighting for a title? That's how boxing is today. If you have the right promoter, as you have with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom, and if you have the right circumstances you have here on The Zone and all the pay-per-views and the kings and princes of Saudi Arabia who love boxing, this is what you're going to get. They're going to get young superstars. And Antonio Moran and Andy Cruz are considered, especially Andy Cruz, he is considered one of those young rising superstars in the sport. So you're going to get that on Saturday night as well. Fans, if I were you, if you got the money, this is a no-brainer. Get it. Good fight card. Undercard fights as well, but those are the main ones for the pay-per-view. And as Caden says, we really have a great card coming up. It feels like we are going to see maybe the card of the year. Well, it's shaping up to be the card of the year. We've had some good fight cards already this year, Caden, but this is shaping up to be the card of the year. Hopefully, no controversy, no bogus decisions, none of that bullshit that we see very often in this sport. And if it goes off with no hitches, and if it goes off with no controversy, you're seeing very good fights on the pay-per-view. 2 standout heavyweight fights with implications, the lightweights as well, and most of all, again, probably the best in the sport, pound for pound, Terrance Crawford, going for another title at 154. Past weekend, heavyweights were on display again. And let's go to the punch stats and look at Derek Chiosa's power punches. The unanimous decision land the win over Joe Joyce. He landed more in total punches, 211 of 835, which is phenomenal. And Chisora, 192 of 564, 34%. Chisora dropped Joyce with that right hand in the 9th round. Judges had it 97-92, 96-94 twice. Good fight, close. The underdog Chiosa in the heavyweight title mix as well. The heavyweight title getting interesting because we're going to get Fury Usyk in December again, the rematch, and then we have Jared Anderson who could win, and we have Joe Joyce still, and now we got Chiosa and Joseph Parker. You know, you can go on and on. The heavyweight division is getting very interesting again. This fight had some implications. Chiosa with the power punches, with the decision. I saw that fight, and I thought it was a pretty good heavyweight fight. And you don't get to see heavyweights go at it like they did. And that was a barn burner. Good one in the UK. All right. Let's talk about something that bothers me, and it does. Why do fighters that are retired have to get back in the ring and fight these bogus exhibitions? It means nothing. All it means is putting money in their pocket, you looking to go back to the glory days, seeing these guys again. And here we go. Today in New York City, I didn't go. Floyd Mayweather Jr., the undefeated champion, Hall of Famer, with all the money, who did so much for the sport, but he can't get rid of the sport. He loves being around it. He's a promoter as well, but he still wants to fight, but exhibitions. It's a rematch with John Gotti III. Set for August 24th in Mexico City, 6-round exhibition. It's going to be on the zone. Co-main event is also another fighter who no longer fights. Once was a WBC welterweight champ. 8-round exhibition for Victor Cruz. Remember, he fought Floyd Mayweather and got annihilated, the back of the head punch because he turned his head. Well, you know, Floyd Mayweather's going back into the ring again. He's fighting Gotti again. They fought before. I guess they want to settle the score, and then they're talking about a trilogy in an exhibition. Come on, give me a break. It's all about the money. That's all it is. Floyd, why don't you sit down, handle fighters, give them advice like you do in the best way you can. Stop with these stupid exhibitions. They're just a waste. But it's on the zone if you want to watch it. August 24th. And Floyd today in New York City said this at the press. He said it's not that he needs the money. He wants to compete. So that's what it's all about. Well, if you still wanted to compete, even though your skills might have declined a bit, you retired as an undefeated champion, the record, then you should have stayed in the ring. Exhibitions mean absolutely nothing. They might go at it, and they will punch, and they'll hit hard. That's what they said they're going to do. They said that today. They did it the first time when they fought, but they mean absolutely nothing, let alone someone can get hurt. I mean, the referee's not so involved in a match like this. And really, who cares who wins this fight? I'm not going to the fight. I probably won't watch it. How about you? And why, oh, why is Manny Pacquiao still fighting? Again, another one. He's done everything you could think of in this sport. He's a senator from in the Philippines, where he's from. He's an 8 division champion, and probably nobody will ever do that in boxing ever again. But he decides he's got to have an exhibition, a fight that doesn't count, and he looked terrible, and he almost got hurt. He was outmatched in Japan by a Japanese kickboxer, Ampo, in a 3-round exhibition in Japan. Manny Pacquiao said he wanted to return at 43 years of age after losing the welterweight title to Ugas 2 years ago. He says he wants Mario Barrios. He couldn't last 1 second against Mario Barrios. Here's a guy that was a top guy in the sport for years, made a lot of money, respected around the world in the sport. Here's a guy that did everything you could accomplish. Yet Manny Pacquiao has decided that he had to go back in the ring again and have a bogus exhibition fight and look stupid. Makes no sense. But when promoters hear about these big names wanting to get in the ring and fight exhibitions, all they see is money, whether it be in Japan, where this fight was, or everywhere else. Manny Pacquiao has said probably that was it. I hope it is. You don't need to fight exhibitions. Stand on your legacy, what you did. You don't need the money. You're a busy guy as a political representative in the Philippines. They love you there. You love them, the people there. And your boxing career was one of the all-time greats of this sport. Stop it. Mayweather, Pacquiao, and whoever else decides to do these bogus exhibitions because of the money. It doesn't thrill me, a boxing person like myself, and many fans I've heard don't like it either. So stop it, guys. Get out there, be more of a spokesperson for the sport, portray the sport with that great image of what you did, and try and help unify this sport to make it strong and better again like it was once before. All right, enough of that venting. But I got to vent some more because here we go again, the weekly Ryan Garcia story. Tweeting again, maybe not as much. I don't know if he's in Japan. I don't know if he's in Mexico. I don't know where he is. Today I saw some on social media where he's training with his trainer in a gym somewhere, as if he's ready for another fight. You know, the kings and princes of Saudi Arabia might want to take him. Who knows? But here he is tweeting during the week about Israel bombing Lebanon on social media because he's given a lot of political views. A lot of political views that make no sense at all. It's all about, again, as I say every week, time and time again, it's all about Ryan Garcia, the suspended fighter, just trying to stay out there, keep his name relevant, try and get back into the good picture of things with his fans and people. But Ryan Garcia's got to remember, you haven't established anything yet. And you want to get back after the suspension and you want to redeem yourself. Do that instead of this. Enough. Boxing always gets hurt by this, my friends, and this is what I can't stand. You've heard me say this. You know about it. You know, when they set up a fight, they have the press conference, the promotion, and then at some point along the way, before the fight date, the fight gets canceled because of an injury or something else. And here we have Regis Prograis, so it's by Jack Cottrell, August 24th. That fight is off. Here we go again. A junior welterweight fight is now being rescheduled for October. The injury to Cottrell, that's what they say. Of course, this was more important, right? And it's important for both fighters in that division. But more so, Prograis was looking to rebound in the 40-pound division, the junior welterweight, the top one in the sport. The former champion after that horrible and no-show against Devin Haney last year. You know, he's a former champion, and he could very well get back in. But now this fight with Jay Cottrell, which was going to be a good one, with no title on the line, it's not going to be rescheduled. Cottrell was hurt. But It's unfortunate, and injuries do happen in the sport during the course of training, and that's what happened to Jake Cuttrell. We wish him the best and hope Prograis and him do get together for rescheduling it in October. All right, the IBF has ordered number one super middleweight William Skull, 22-0, 9 KOs, to oppose Vladimir Shishkin, undefeated 16-0, 10 knockouts, for the vacant title, IBF title, 168, once held by the unified champion, Canelo Alvarez. Here we go. Unification. Canelo unifies those titles. 4-belt era, first time. Absolutely means nothing because it's not unified. Because the IBF, one of the major alphabet soup organizations, says, no, you didn't meet the mandatory, So, Daniel, tomorrow, am I God? No. Are you? I was God. I try and give my opinion, though. Some opinions that maybe people don't like, many do, but I'm a purist, so I'll give my opinion. Thanks for commenting anyway. Canelo Alvarez no longer has the IBF belt, and he's fighting Edgar Berlanga September 14th in Las Vegas, but the title's not unified. And that's a fight we look forward to on the 4 calendar because the IBF, the Alphabet Soup Organization, says you're no longer going to have that belt because you didn't meet the mandatory. Instead, it's going to be Skull and Shishkin with Canelo without one of the belts fighting Berlanga. Canelo stripped. Unity, reform, same old story. We need that in the sport. So things like this don't happen time and time again. And Top Rank, look at this. Did you hear about this? Conflicting reports about it, but I've been able to verify it. Jaime Munguia, who's been an Oscar De La Hoya Golden Boy homegrown product. Remember, he went the distance with Canelo Alvarez this year? Well, then, 43-1, 34 knockouts, undefeated at one time. He's fighting now under the Top Rank boxing banner. Top Rank, and Bob Arum picked up a great fighter. Munguia has power, speed. He's got it all. Delivers, got all the goods. Eric Bazayan, 32-0, 23 knockouts. And Munguia, Friday, September 20th, Glendale, Arizona, ESPN televised super middleweights. Once with Golden Boy, now with Top Rank. Great coup for Top Rank. They have Jaime Munguia. And again, I got an unofficial confirmation that Munguia is no longer with Golden Boy, but Golden Boy is a part of this show. More to come on that. Big news. All right, no, the boxing talk, it's always there. He's still under Oscar De La Hoya. Clarify that me for Thomas, because I don't know. It says Thomas is on this more than me right now. Berlanga and Canelo press conference. Yes, that will be officially announced in New York Monday. I'll be there. I think you will too, Thomas. And it's a 2-city tour. The next day they're in LA to promote their fight. Thanks, Tom. Tom, clarify that for me. Why De La Hoya is still with Munguia, and yet is Munguia just fighting on a Top Rank card? Or is he on the Top Rank banner? Or is he still with De La Hoya? That's what I'm trying to confirm. I haven't been able to get that. Unless I'm stupid, I can't clarify that. So Thomas, try and comment and let me know about that. UFC news. But again, that's boxing for you. You never know sometimes. UFC news. Dana White, not happy. He's venting. He's venting because Canelo Alvarez is fighting next door at the T-Mobile Arena. His UFC 306 card is right down the block at the Sphere on the same date. UFC 306 is Sean O'Malley versus Narab. And he said the PBC and Al Heyman, they scratched the date, his date, and they should have scratched the date and let the UFC show go on. They're right near each other. I don't think that's going to affect the fans because it's two different type of fan bases. But Dana White is on a rampage about that. Who had the date first? According to Dana White, he had it first at the Sphere. Canelo sets his own fights and dates with the PBC or whatever. So now Thomas says, Oscar said he's just fighting on their network. He's still Golden Boy. And that's what I assumed. Thomas, thank you for clarifying that, because that's what I assumed from the beginning, but I wasn't able to clarify it completely. Now we got it. So it makes sense, because Oscar De La Hoya and Bob Arum, De La Hoya, of course, promoted throughout his career by Bob Arum in Top Rank, then went on his own as a promoter, as a rival promoter. But De La Hoya and Arum are very, very friendly. They stay in touch. They work together, and there's an example of that. And Conor McGregor, back to the UFC. Today he got arrested for drunken driving. He got away. He's not going to be able to drive for, I think, but he says he's entering bare knuckles fight competition. Your thoughts on that? Conor McGregor is supposed to fight Edwards in the octagon. Now he says he's going to go into bare knuckles competition when he can. We still don't know when he's going to fight Edwards, though. And how about this? UFC, let's put that up. My great producer, who'll bring in a moment, Scott Churston. Bilal Muhammad stunning Leon Edwards over the weekend. Impressive, the striking he did, winning the welterweight title at UFC 304 in Manchester, the rematch of their no contest of 2021 after Muhammad accidentally got poked to the eye. Good one in the UFC over the weekend, Muhammad and Leon Edwards. And also UFC over the weekend, a lot of news there. Aspiano knocked out Curtis Blaydes the first round, retaining the interim heavyweight title, avenging his lone UFC defeat. The UFC was pretty busy, and they got a lot more coming up this summer going into the fall. So that's it. That's the boxing and the UFC stuff for now. The pro wrestling is going to come up after the break, and I got a lot of that with SummerSlam Saturday night. How are we going to deal with that? We got two major combat events going on at the same time. SummerSlam, WWE Saturday night on Peacock, and of course the great fights from LA, Matchroom and payperview.com and The Zone and ESPN Plus with Terrance Bud Crawford. You're going to watch two things at the same time against Saturday night, folks. All right, let me bring in my buddy Scott Churston, and he's going to take a crack of the week this week because I don't have a guest lined up. Hey, Scott, you there?
No, I'm not.
Well, Scott, first and foremost, for me and all of us that keep it in the ring, the fans and everywhere out there, we want to offer our condolences to you on the loss and passing of your mother-in-law, who had suffered a bit, and our deep prayers and thoughts to you and the family. And thank you for coming back this week and putting this together for me.
I appreciate that. And also thanks to Tommy also for honestly kicking ass last week and taking care of this, because we were dealing with everything with hospice and everything. So Tommy, dude, if you're watching this still, yeah, thank you. I really appreciate the pinch hit on that one big time.
Yeah, Tom is a good backup, good friend, good colleague. Going to get more involved with this on the program. And again, Scott, condolences from all of us. I hope you're hanging in there, you and your lovely bride as well, and the family.
And
all right, Scott.
The fact of the week at me and test me, right?
Yeah, I'm going to test you with the. Put it up, because it's not the fact of the week till it's the fact of the week. Here we go. It deals with WWE and SummerSlam, of course. All right, Randy Orton, you know him.
Yep.
What did he achieve at SummerSlam 2004? Way back.
2004?
Yeah. In 2004, Randy Orton was still a rookie in this business.
How old was he back then?
Oh, well, I don't know. Maybe in his right? He's got to be like 22 years old.
Oh, God. Kind of makes me.
What did he achieve at SummerSlam in 2004?
Was he the youngest to ever win?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. You're almost there. 24 years of age then. Yeah.
Okay.
I could give you
if it had something to do with the age on that, because okay, that makes sense. So.
Well, he pinned Chris Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
And became the youngest world heavyweight champ in WWE, 24 years of age. That's what he did at SummerSlam in 2004.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. How about that? You were almost there.
All right.
And Randy Orton's not a part of SummerSlam this year, but there are many others, and we're going to get to that when we take this after this brief timeout. Scott, again, our condolences. I'm sure I'll get back at you before the end of the night, okay?
No doubt of it. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, let's take this first brief timeout. We're going to go an hour tonight, probably the most. pro wrestling. We'll talk SummerSlam, break it down. AEW, break some of that down and much more. This is Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Thanks for being with us live on my YouTube channel. Rich Mancuso, like, comment, and subscribe. Also, Jabrobis United, String Punk Entertainment, and Facebook, Keep It in the Ring. X, Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, where you get me. I'll get back to each and one of you when I can. Stay with us, folks. The wrestling talk coming up next. This is Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Yes, Pandemonium coming up October 12th, Viper Center in Jersey. Yours truly, Rich Mancuso, will be on the commentary team again with Tommy Cairo. Jason Knight's ACW returns. Pandemonium, the rematches. The former ECW superstars on the card with Jason Knight, the legend in this business. And we'll be there and look forward to it. And we'll be promoting more of this in the weeks to come leading up to October 12th. All right, the Pro Wrestling Report. Also, Carl, thank you for joining me, my brother. That's what you definitely are. Hope all is well at home. AEW, and the talk is Shane McMahon going elite? There's a tremendous buzz about this because Shane McMahon, not Bryan Danielson, we'll get to him in a moment. Shane McMahon and Tony Khan, there's a photo of them together. It's circulating all over social media that they met. They met and they talked. And it wasn't just a handshake to say hello. They're talking business. Shane McMahon loves to go for opportunity, and I would not doubt that he becomes a part of All Elite, All AEW with Tony Khan in some capacity pretty soon. He's got great ideas. Of course, no longer involved with WWE, with everything that's gone on over there in that mess, even though they're doing well under Triple H. Shane McMahon and Tony Khan have met. We know that's true. Those were not images that were made up. That's all over social media. So we're going to watch that as it develops, my friends. Bryan Danielson and Swerve. Yeah, that's coming up at AEW All In at the end of the month from Wembley before 80,000 fans. All In's going to shape up to be good. Bryan Danielson says he's healthy, but this might be it for good. He does have the contract in balance with AEW, but he's going to get Swerve for the title. And what could be his last match at AEW All In? Darby Allin last night gets his big match at Grand Slam coming up in New York at the National Tennis Center in Flushing Meadow, Queens. And MJF with his American title. All of a heel like he's never been before. AEW ratings have been up a bit. And that's because they're still negotiating a new Warner Brothers time or media rights deal to where their programming will be seen. But it's been much better and much improved, of course, because MJF is back, the top heel to me in this industry, especially the way he handles the microphone in the ring. And Mercedes developing her stable to go against Dr. Britt Baker, which will be part of All In at the end of the month on pay-per-view. AEW is still not out of it, my friends. And if Shane McMahon joins All Elite, it's going to get hot and heavy with WWE competition. Maybe not overtake them, but make it that more interesting. All right, WWE, we all know SummerSlam coming up. But it was good to see this over the weekend. Triple H brought back Jesse the Body Ventura. There was a reunion. You got that image up there? There it is, with CM Punk shaking Jesse the Body Ventura's hand. And he's in his hometown of Minnesota, where he was the governor. He says he's home. Triple H says all these guys, when they come back, are home. Jesse Ventura and Greed, and shaking hands with CM Punk was interesting. That was good to see. Jesse Ventura's back. I don't know if he's going to be signing a Legends contract with them or what, but he's back there, and you'll see him more at WWE. And now we go to SummerSlam. Before that, Survivor Series officially announced today by Triple H, November 30th. Peacock, of course, and it's going to be in Vancouver. Survivor Series War Games, and it's going to be official November 30th in Vancouver. So WWE continuing to take their PLE events out of the country, somewhere else. So interesting. There's a lot of money there, and they're doing well when they take their shows out of the States. All right, SummerSlam is the big show and the big buzz. And thank you, Carl. Brian Dale said that once his daughter was at a certain age, he was going to retire. Yeah, I had heard that also. Thank you, Carl. Thank you all for your comments, and I really appreciate it. We're getting bombarded with comments on the program. I really do. War Games, I'm going to talk about that in a moment, Katie, and I think it's going to be a Survivor Series match with the Bloodline, the new Bloodline, and the one that Sikoa currently says he is the head of the table. SummerSlam in Cleveland is expected to draw a gross record outdoors Saturday night. Again, if you're a boxing fan and a wrestling WWE fan at the same time, like me, you're going to watch two shows at the same time. I hate when that happens, and it's happening again. But this SummerSlam shaping up to be a very good one with a lot of interesting storylines, including this one now. We'll put this up now. Roman Reigns. Not that one, Scott, but that one. Solo Sikoa against Cody Rhodes. That guy, Roman Reigns, rumored to show up to begin the war, that he's the head of the table and not Sikoa in his faction of the Bloodline. That's going to be interesting. And then Roman Reigns could get involved in the Cody Rhodes Sikoa match, which then would give you an idea that Cody Rhodes and maybe Roman Reigns, arch enemies, are going to align themselves with this new Bloodline. Maybe Jimmy and Jey Uso will be a part of that as well. Look out for SummerSlam Saturday night to see where this goes. Sikoa will not win the title, but where will Roman Reigns be? Will he show up? Rumors are very heavy he will. That's his return, which will then set up a War Games pay-per-view Survivor Series match. 2 rings, Bloodline of Sikoa, Bloodline of Roman Reigns and his team. Going to be an interesting SummerSlam to see that. To also see Gunther and Damian Priest. Judgment Day. Maybe a division going on there with Finn Balor, who's aligned himself almost with my favorite there, that I can't stand her. I cannot stand Liv Morgan. There's something about her I never liked her, never will. All right, and she's crying now with Dom Mysterio and Rhea Ripley, and that's going to be another good one. Where does Dom do here? Does Dom align himself with Ripley? Does he turn on Rhea Ripley? Been playing with her all along and go with Liv Morgan and help Morgan retain that title? CM Punk and McIntyre with Seth Rollins as the referee. Does Rollins turn heel as the referee here? Because Rollins is always in the talk with Punk. Does McIntyre finally get the title? All of this, great storylines that have been milked and developed by Triple H. He loves to do that. That's why he's so good at creative. Bayley and my favorite, Nia Jax. I think it's time for Nia Jax. I think she's going to win the title from Bayley. I've always loved Nia Jax, and I think she's going to win that. And how about AJ Knight and Logan Paul for the U.S. title? Another good one. I think that Knight, it's his time. He's had numerous chances, and now I think he dethrones Paul for the U.S. title. I imagine a War Games match of Roman, Uso, Sammy, and Cody against The Rock, Tonga, and Tama, Soto, and Jacob. tongue twister there, Caden, but a good one. Good thought. Thank you. And how about Sami Zayn and Broner international title? Another good one. Sometimes a good card. Good card. It's going to be action-packed, 3 hours from the beginning to the end, and everyone's suspense with the return of Roman Reigns, probably with Paul Heyman. And also the other big interest, again, Punk, McIntyre, Rollins. And I think the other one is Dom, the triangle. Rhea, Dom, and my favorite, Morgan. So tune in to SummerSlam this weekend. A good one. WWE still, Nike, the ratings are strong. The PLE events are strong. And they're on a ride as they head into their fall season after this and lead into next year's WrestleMania. And who knows who the main event's going to be at next year's WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. A lot going on in pro wrestling, and you're going to see a lot of it this weekend. And, of course, the end of the month, AEW All In. We'll try to line up pro wrestling talent next week for you with ACW. Scott and I are working on that. We'll see what we can get. All right. So let's take this other brief time out and wrap it all up. When we come back, I'm going to vent a little bit about the state of the Olympic boxing teams and Olympic boxing. There's a lot of controversy going on there at the Olympics right now. And also look at our nostalgic photo of the week and go over that. This is Rich Mancuso. This is Keep It in the Ring, live on my YouTube channel. Like, comment, and subscribe. Also, Jabronis United and also String Punk Entertainment. Let us know what you think of the program. Comment and subscribe to the channel as well. Back in a moment. I'm Rich Mancuso. Stay with us.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Pandemonium, October 12th. More next week, the weeks to come. Look out for that, ACW. Pandemonium, the rematches. Yeah, I got pandemonium going on right in front of my face. I got a fly flying around me. You ever get that? It's so goddamn annoying. Stop. Why you got to come after me? Leave me alone. I'm trying to get him. He's flying back and forth. Fly swatter, whatever. I'll take care of him when we get off the air. I'm going to go on a war. My war is with now the Olympics and especially the box. You know, I was a part of it. 1984, because I told you last week and I recapped, the 1984 Olympic team, USA, best one we probably had with all the gold and the medals. A lot of those guys went on to become successful pros. And now, you know, this talk that the Olympics in 4 years again in Los Angeles won't be part of the Olympic spectrum and won't be part, at least with the USA, which has become very corrupt, disorganized. And, you know, you saw the images and you saw the story what happened. The controversy, Khalif, female with male chromosomes, Angela Carini quit within 46 seconds because she saw she wasn't fighting a female but a male. So, but they're allowing that to happen, and it's totally unfair. I have nothing against transgender sexual preference, or none of that. It's the principle of it. This is boxing. It's competition. And this was more of a male fighting a female. It drew a lot of attention, a lot of headlines this morning, last night in Paris, and it's just not right. And that's where this has gone. This is where the Olympic boxing program, part of amateur competition, is gone. You can't have pros fighting, and there were pros fighting with some of the other countries. That's not fair. And this was totally unfair and unjustified, yet nobody does nothing about it. So they're talking more and more about banning boxing from the Olympic Games, which has been there from the beginning, a tradition, because there's a lot of also corruption and a lot of things not right with the USA Olympic boxing program. And one of the reasons why we haven't had champions coming out of the USA Olympic boxing team, and as many as they had since 1984, is because of the corruption that goes on behind the scenes. I get to hear a lot that goes on, and I don't report it. And now it might be time, my friends, for me to start reporting this stuff more, because it's not right. And it's causing something that's been such a great tradition to probably become obsolete in 4 years. But this was totally unjustified, wrong, and should not be allowed. And hope we never see it again. And that's no disrespect also to Khalif. No disrespect to her. She has her own preference, but to be in a competition fighting with male chromosomes and looking more like a male with that power over a female who had to quit within 46 seconds, that's not Olympic competition, my friends. Not at all. But on the U.S. side of the Olympic team, Omari Jones is advanced. He's a young man with talent. And Jamal Henry, despite being cut, the featherweight, has a chance for the gold. He advances to the quarterfinals. He decisions Brazil's Luis Oliveira. And here's another thing. If you're a boxing person like me and you want to watch the Olympics, overall, you want to watch the Olympics, and there's so many sports, you can't keep track. But if you have your favorite sport you want to watch, how do you find it? It's ridiculous. It's all over the place. You have to go online or tune in or find it where it is. Is it on NBC? Is it on Peacock? Is it on the USA Network? Where is it? And I have a schedule now where I can finally see some of the Olympic boxing competition. But this was never the case. But with the new $1 billion TV deal and streaming with NBC, they try and show it all over the place, even in the wee hours of the morning, even if they just do highlights. I'd like to see the boxing stuff. That's what I like. That's my favorite part of the summer games here in Paris. So they got to change that as well. They need to have that better organized. Wasn't like that. Never was. 1984, we all knew where it was. But then again, this is 2024, not 1984, right? Speaking about Olympic I saw this. I knew that this young man pitched for the New York Mets. I've talked to him a few times before he got injured out of their bullpen. Daniel Nunez, one of their top relief guys on the New York Mets. Well, I asked some of the players about their favorite sports, and then I found out that Nunez loves boxing and loved Olympic boxing. And here he is. He did say online, he let everyone know boxing's his game, and boxing the Olympic Games. He's watching, and he's on the injured list right now. It's quite a relief pitcher with the New York Mets, who have their problems. I'm going to go off boxing right now. Met fans, what they just did in May and June, everyone knows I cover baseball as well. That was a farce. It's not going nowhere. Leave that for another time. Read that on NewYorkSportsDay.com. I'll have that up this week. All right, it's about that time. Final points. And let's go to the favorite part of the program that I like. Well, I like it all, but that's I love nostalgia. I like going back. August 1st, 1987. Mike Tyson, the Hall of Famer, the great youngest heavyweight champion, beat Tony Tucker in the 12th round, unanimous, undisputed heavyweight champion. Las Vegas, Nevada retained the WBA, WBC titles. Again, there was alphabet soup even in 1987. Fight that was then up to 15 rounds. Then they went to 12. Tyson then became the first undisputed then champion in the heavyweight division since Leon Spinks upset Ali in February 1978. Of course, the heavyweight division is supposedly not unified either, with Usyk, who unified it against Fury earlier this year. And we know that, again, boxing needs to unify. There needs to be reform. But Mike Tyson was at a time when boxing almost had that type of unity in the heavyweight division. And you know how great Mike Tyson was. And in his fight with Tony Tucker, a 12-round unanimous decision, it was a tough one, but he prevailed. You know all about Mike Tyson, one of the top fighters of all time. And August 2nd, 1980, Tommy Hearns, in that era with Hagler, Hearns, Duran, and Leonard, that great era, August 2nd, 1980, stopped Pepino Cuevas, round 2 of 15. Here we go again. Not 12-round championship fights then, 15 rounds. That for the WBA Welterweight title in Detroit. That right hand of Hearns was devastating, and he did that to Pepino Cuevas on August 2nd, 1980. So that's the nostalgia part of the program this week. More next week. We go back in time and we look at some of the fights of the past of significance and some that made boxing history and made the sport the grand that it was and still is, by the way, except there's no unity and reform that the sport needs. The hour is over. We did a lot this week. We recapped the fight card coming up Saturday night. Again, Terrance Crawford looking once again to get another title. And also, does he consider himself, after he wins, the top pound-per-pound fighter in the sport? And does he get Canelo Alvarez next, maybe, as his next opponent? It's a good card of boxing. If you purchase it on pay-per-view, you got yourself a winner. I don't expect any disappointments on that one Saturday night. And also WWE SummerSlam. If you can catch both at the same time like I will do, then to me, you're a jack of all trades. Good luck at it. My thanks again to my great producer behind the scenes, Scott Churston. Puts up with me even through all he went through this week. Again, our condolences on the passing of your mother-in-law from all of us here at Keep It in the Ring and elsewhere. Scott, thank you. And to all of you, as always, for to keep it in touch and to being a part of Keep It in the Ring. Thank you all for being a part of the program this week in your comments. Reach me at X, formerly Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, and other social media platforms. And read my content at NewYorkSportsDay.com, LatinoSports.com, and other outlets as well online. Stay in touch with me this week. You have a good week. Stay healthy. Be good to each other. And most of all, God bless. This is Rich Mancuso. This is Keep It in the Ring. I thank you as always. See you next week.
Even when you feel low, you can still go.